Pretty sure I'm the only person here. That's okay. It's still 5 minutes till, and even if no one shows up, that's perfectly acceptable. Excellent. Nice. That's what I like to see, boys. Well, I started 5 minutes early. Now I don't have any idea what I'm going to do for the next few minutes. Either way, this is going bye-bye. Oh, yeah. I probably don't want to hear all of this. I keep you more anxious, I guess. But nothing. Yes, while this goes on, I'm gonna have this post up afterwards anyways, so I'll just go into the military FNAF. There's a lot going on. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but I'm actually not. Because while you can find a lot of theories out there where people are like, "Do you see this pizza? I think there's a child in it," and then they run with it. I actually have evidence behind what I'm showing, and this stuff is actually in the series. I'm going to start today talking about Freddy Fazbear Pizza Simulator, paragraph 4. Whenever you go to scrap Molten Freddy, you get a message from Henry, and inside of that message, he says, "This is your responsibility under paragraph 4." What that is that it's DD Form 4, Paragraph 4. It's the military enlistment agreement. And this is Paragraph 4 on the DD Form 4 is talking about like your responsibilities to the military. Like you have to risk your life, stuff like that, potential hazardous outcomes. Um, we jump down to this one. And you got, if you guys can even really see this that well, we're going to talk about more of the military stuff. The sister location source code. Um, in the beginning of it, it says ANAMN, and then it has a bunch of schedules and stuff like that, like Monday, Tuesday. And then on those times as well, they have MAT. AMN is a rank E2 or above airman. MAT is the maintenance, analysis and testing. So whenever they go and they're testing, well, that's what crewmen do. They go out, they test stuff, they make sure that it works. They're responsible for the upkeep of the operation. And here we go. CRMN. It's rank E2 and above airmen. Crewmen is what they're called. They operate, they work, they can work on vehicles like in the Air Force. A lot of crewmen work on planes. They can also work in locations and on equipment, stuff like that. And then Midnight Motorist, we got, if we have Henry telling somebody about paragraph 4, we could assume that Henry is talking to a soldier about their responsibility. And then we take 5 laps at Freddy's talking about Midnight Motor, we got the color orange. The color orange is represented by a rank E3 airman. So a rank E3 airman is going to be a crewman. And Escape the Pizzaplex, the region itself is a war crime. Between 1915 and 1997, we a lot of, I wouldn't say just we, a lot of countries used chemical warfare. The most popular chemicals were phosgene, chlorine, and some nerve agents. Chlorine makes a yellow and green gas. It also suffocates you out, much like what happened to Cassie repeatedly in the story. So, and then we know we're going to know it's chlorine because as well, it's used as chemist spray, and they help wanted parts and service with Chica whenever you're spraying it to kill the roaches, but it doesn't actually kill the roaches; they still run around. Um, and then it says it's food grade. It's like this is our food grade chemist spray. Whenever you're talking about food grade items, there's 4 appropriate sanitizers. One of them being chlorine. A lot of people will be like, well, this robot is just made to clean things, but it has a targeting system, one for organic life and then another one for soul targeting. As well, there's something called parts per liter, which depends and creates the potency of the gas being used. A robot being programmed to use a high enough parts per liter to create the chlorine gas to have the effects of the war crime is an obvious tell here. Um, what did I put down for FTS? I forgot what I put on my own live. That's crazy. My brain just shut off on me. We will skip to give the sister location source code. We'll come back to this. Now we're going to go to the MSF, which is the Mind Science Foundation. In the 1:35 a.m. epilogue, Taggart speaks about William Broad. Whenever he's describing the items he uses to measure EDA with. William Broad is his Ganzfeld experiment is recreated in the FNAF 1 movie with the torture mask, as well as stuffing the kids into the suit. Period is a Ganzfeld experiment where they're focusing the sensory. Afton is focusing the sensory through the eyes. Oh, yeah. In Fetch, we have Helmut Schmidt, like which the last name Schmidt should just be a dead giveaway. But um, the random electronic generator and the 0 point field, as well as the observe the unobservable energies in the FNAF 2 movie script. Um, these are all studies of Helmut Schmidt, as well. Like there's Monster, there's Mr. Schmidt and Monster, there's Mike Schmidt in the movies. We also have Lynn McTaggart from the Mind Science Foundation. That's Phineas Taggart. They did the same crystal experiment. Taggart did it in the books. Lynn McTaggart did it in real life. Brian Little, he's another science professor for the Mind Science Foundation. He was in. He told me everything. Professor Little, the one who did the Fazgoo experiment. Prankster has Dr. Talbert, and Duophobia has experiments from Marilyn Schlitz as well as FNAF 4, which all tie into, I'll say this right, biological psychokinesis. There we go. What that is pretty much like how you can channel your emotional energy to heal yourself, which we know Agony does. Bum, 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 bum. Now, my Science Foundation worked with the CIA and the military. Operation Gateway. Operation Gateway is the implement to the customer. What Operation Gateway is they took a group of people, put them in a bed, made them listen to pink noise like waves of water or wind running through trees, which are specifically listed out in the CIA document. Then the FNAF 1 movie, we have Michael Schmidt hearing the wind running through the trees. Dinophobia, Rory is hearing running water through the speaker that he thinks is his mom taking a shower until he finds the speaker itself. And he's like, oh, this speaker is making the water sound. Um, FNAF 4 is a recreation, is the biological psychokinesis experiment Meredith Swift did. It is a recreation of Operation Gateway. That's why FNAF 4 and Didophobia are so similar. The FNAF 1 movie also has things from Operation Gateway in it, as they have remote viewing, where not only do they have the torture mask from William Broad's face, William Broad was also pioneered remote viewing in America. And the whole like viewing them on a camera and watching them from a distance, that's called remote viewing. That's William Broad's state of study. So we have William Broad, Helmut Schmidt, and Marilyn Schlitz all having their big time experiments while they were in the Mind Science Foundation, being inside of the series, whether it's in the games or the books. However, um, we also have multitudes, multitudes of canon in series military references. Multitudes. People be like, you are crazy. Then there's people who argue when the MCI happened, even though we get in the Into the Pit game a calendar right beside Golden Freddy's face that says June 1985. Okay, well, said I was going to do something here, so I'm just going to start this so I can go on because I don't think anybody's going to show up. Woo. I feel like this is a good time of year to do this anyways. What? That's wild. Oh, nope, I need that plugged in. What do I not need plugged in? That's crazy. That's not good. That's gonna be bad if the whole razors just gave out. You're back. Clippers died and they're not wanting to charge on me. So now it's him, it's the guy. What's up, what though, 911? Just like the worst timing in the world, the Clippers would like just died on me. Oh man. Now I can't get in the charge or nothing. How are you doing, man? Look like a bad guy just got beat up in a, in a kid's movie. Damn. I wonder how quick I can get Clippers coming. Heck yeah, hydration. That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm trying to look into getting some more Clippers right quick in case those don't work. Does Hey, Terminal. So, my clippers just blew out right in the middle as I was doing this. I was getting my wife to go get some more. I'm sending her money right now for it. It's always something. It is always something. Chair POV. Thank you for complimenting my chair. The return of the goat. You are the goat. What the what? I don't think you've been here. Yeah, exactly, man. From last night, from the stream, like, you know what? You're 2 hours off. We're gonna tell you on your laptop you can go live, but you're not gonna be able to really go live. To like, I don't even know what happened. Like, they're not even charging. The Clippers aren't even charging at this point. They're just like, you know what? You lost half your hair. Let's go ahead and die. Yeah. So, you got time, Terminal? While you're here, do you want to figure out how the military is in FNAF? Look at that, like, dry erase board, buddy. Like, yours is much more impressive than mine, but I got one too. Hey, where's it at? There it is. Hey, look at this. Nothing more professional. That is absolutely true. I got time. What you got for me? Okay, so as a matter of fact, this is literally like the first thing on my list just because I watched your live, like, what was it, last week or the week before, whenever you played FFPS. Um, so Freddy Fazbear Pizza Simulator. We got the first night whenever you go. I haven't made it to the other nights yet because I suck at FNAF. One second. Let's take money. What do you need? Okay. I love you. The lovely Mrs. Chum. Okay, so I don't know if you catch it every single night because I haven't gotten to the point. I haven't gotten past Nut and Freddy because, like, for some reason he just pops out without no noise. Um, Whenever Henry's talking to you about your scrapping and he's understanding that you can salvage to make the money, he tells you, he's like, this is your responsibility under paragraph four. Paragraph four, you can't even see the whole board, man. I'm over here slacking. All right. Paragraph four refers to the military form DD Form 4. What paragraph four is it's part of the enlistment and re-enlistment agreement between the military and an individual. That is very true. What you do not have to be a FNAF. You don't have to be good at the game. I don't know why. Yeah, dude. It's just it'll be quiet. I'll have silent vent on, just running the little tasks. I'll check both ways, and then I'll just be chilling, and he still just pops out. Yeah. So paragraph four is whenever you go to enlist in the military and you're signing your enlistment re-enlistment papers, DD Form 4, it tells you like this is your responsibility is to be obedient to the government, be willing to face the law, be willing to follow the law, and then also be willing to risk your life. That you understand that this is a hazardous job. So like that's like Henry right there telling you. Like Henry is telling you like your responsibilities as part of signing up. You signed up for the military. You're gonna die. You have an opportunity to die from salvaging this animatronic. Um, Next, we're gonna go stay on the military topic. We got the system location source code. In the top part, you have like the Monday, Tuesday, the scheduling part. It says AMN. AMN is the abbreviation for an airman that is rank E2 or above. And then on that scheduling, it has like booked, private, well, I think it's like physical training or something like that. But there's also MAT. MAT for a crewman, oh, I haven't got to that part yet. MAT for a rank E2 or above airman is maintenance analysis and testing, which we know whenever we know in sister location, the two guys who came before us came to work and like do testing on the animatronics, shocking them and stuff like that. And then the big old like CRMN Institute, it's not criminal. It's not child remnant or anything like that. It's crewman, which is a rank E2 or above airman. It's an operator who goes into location. Well, they can either work on vehicles or they can work in operations and buildings and stuff like that. They pretty much like work on like the equipment, the machinery, stuff like that. Which again, we know that's what the two guys who came in before us came to do. And then yeah, so we're being told. So the first thing we're being told is the crewman schedules. One comes to do the MAT on a Sunday, and I think we're supposed to figure out from that scheduling what day or what week we are there. Um, we know they come to do the maintenance analysis testing. We know a crewman is an E2 or above airman. Now we go to Five Laps at Freddy's, where it's supposed to be confirming that William Afton is the one in Midnight Motorist. Well, the color orange in the military is a rank E3 above airman. Or well, it's a rank E3, it's not E3 above, E3 airman. And that is and a crewman, right? And then on top of that, whenever you go and you read the next line of source code, it tells you CO, which is to send to the care of, which is sending mail to a place to where a person is an at um after robotics. So it's saying that these crewmen who come in here do this testing are supposed to send their service logs to Afton. Uh, oh, you don't have to read the CIA files. I'll go into those too. Set the stage before I get right into the big drop. In the real world, we have something called the Minds, William Drafton. In the real world, we have something called the Mind Science Foundation. They worked with the CIA back in the between like the 60s and 80s, all around the country, especially Utah. And they worked in underground bunkers with the CIA in Utah. Sister location, dittophobia, like dead giveaways. Whenever they did this work, they were doing covert experiments, trying to harness psionic and emotional energy, whether it was to heal themselves or anything like that. Um, this is led, if you go to the 1:35 a.m. epilogue of Fazbear Frights, you get the story of Taggart. Taggart talks about a stare experiment that a colleague of his did, where people would be in one room and then someone else would stare at them and they would try to put up a mental shield of light. This is actually a real life experiment. It's done with the CIA with William Broad. Um, And it even goes on, like as Taggart's continuing talking, there's a part where it's talking about how Taggart measures the EDA and all the different equipments he has. And the beginning of that sentence says, like Broad, Braud, William Broad, comma, Taggart had his EEG, his MRIs, all this other stuff. Um, and the story Fetch, Greg studies REG and ZPF, the field, as well in the FNAF 2 movie scripts. We have the military script. There's the part at the bottom. The general says a phrase. He says, observing, he's quoting something that he's reading, and he says, observing the unobservable energies. This is the observer effect. REG, ZPF, and the observer effect were all studies done by Helmut Schmidt. I'm like, let's just be real about it. The last name Schmidt itself throughout FNAF. We got Mike Schmidt in the games, Mike Schmidt in the movies, Mr. Schmidt in the story Monster on the Walmart exclusive apps in number 3. The field! From apps in number 3. And I'm going to make a video explaining the field because like I'm not saying anything negative about anybody, but it is highly pressuring to understand the science of what's going on and then see other people constantly sit there and be like, the field! Like, if anything happens, like the microwave dings, the field! The fucking mop handle falls, the field! A baby is born, the field! It's ridiculous. And it has nothing to do with that. It's nowhere near anything what anybody thinks it is. Um, And then FNAF 4 is FNAF 4 and Didophobia. We're going to talk about Didophobia later as part of this Operation Gateway. But FNAF 4 is a recreation of Didophobia. That's why they're so similar, but not exactly alike. And in that same aspect, Marilyn Schlitz recreated Operation Gateway in a study called A Study into Biopsychokinesis. And what she was trying to figure out is that Operation Gateway took people, put them in a huge group. She took people who were susceptible to being lonely, put them alone, made them feel more alone, and then introduced a singular person, a shaman-like figure, to come in and calm down the subject. That is literally the golden thread. That's literally golden thread plush in FNAF 4. The crying child is the subject. He's already tripping out. He's already made to feel alone. He also goes through the didophobia experiments. I believe that Mike, because everyone's like, was it Crying Child or Mike that went through it? Because Mike saw Nightmare in the logbook. Why can't it be both? Like, be real about it. Um, so yeah, Marilyn Schlitz, Helmut Schmidt, William Broad, they all three of them in the same time period. That's between the 60. Well, it was a 10-year time period. I think it's between like the mid 70s to the mid 80s. But in this time, while working with the CIA, these three worked at the top of the Mind Science Foundation, leading the experiments. Um, we also have Lynn McTaggart, who was in the Mind Science Foundation. She is obviously Phineas Taggart. She also did the ice crystal experiment in the book, in the epilogue, that Taggart was like, I put all my hate and a hideous crystal burst forth. She did that experiment with love and stuff. Um, well, it was intention, which is a big thing, right? Because her whole focus is focusing on on like people's intention and being able to will stuff, and that's what we see in Fetch. We see it named. We see intention named so many times. Nurse Ackerman talks about the willpower and intention in Man in Room 1280. Jake literally hits William Afton with a baseball bat made of pure intention. I'm quoting the book. It is a baseball bat made of pure intention and he swings as hard as he can and knocks Afton back. or he knocks him away. Either way, he either knocks out him back or knocks him and Andrew away. Um, and he told me everything. Professor Little is Brian Little, who was also in the Mind Science Foundation, and his entire focus was biological healing based off emotional energy. And that's what the fuck Fazgo, I don't know if I can cuss on much. That's what Fazgo is. It's repairing. It's taking the cells and repairing it. We already talked about the Oh yeah, we're going to talk more about the FNAF 2 military script. So underground bunkers in Utah, they had them around a real life energy vortex called the Bowl. Hurricane Utah sits right outside of the Bowl. Hurricane Utah is the setting of the Silver Eyes, and now for the first time we get the connection. Like if you saw Johnny Blox's where he showed the cover of the Ultimate Guide coming out in December, it literally says on there Fazbear Entertainment, and it has the Hurricane Utah and the same zip code. So like it's telling us that's gonna be the first time out because like the Silver Eyes, we didn't have Fazbear Entertainment. We had Freddy's, stuff like that. We didn't have the Evil Corporation. But now we have in the games, in the lore, that Hurricane Utah is directly tied into Fazbear Entertainment. Um, so whenever the general is talking about vortices and quantum wave functions, this is up earlier before he talked about observing the unobservable energies. Whenever he's talking about vortices, that's the plural for vortexes. And whenever he's talking about a quantum wave function, he's talking about not mechanical, mathematical functions to find the status of energy. He's saying energy vortex. And then we got Utah, and then we got observing the unobservable energy. So he's referring to the bowl in the script. In doing that, he's also referring to Helmut Schmitz's studies that were in the actual script, that were in the books. And now we get to the bread and butter, Operation Gateway. This, I'm gonna say, FNAF. Right? Like no one's ever gonna believe me. Everybody says that. Everyone does that. But like I genuinely have. Like if you go, I know unused fast that had me dead. I wasn't ready for that. Um, Operation Gateway was an experiment done by the CIA while they were working with the Mind Science Foundation in underground bunkers around Utah, like MK Ultra type stuff like that. Excuse me. Sorry. Um, What Operation Gateway was, is they took a group of people, they introduced them to pink noise. What that pink noise was either wind rustling through trees. I'm directly quoting the CIA experiment. Wind rustling through trees, just like as we see what Mike Schmidt is doing whenever he's going to the dreams in the FNAF 1 movie. And then another example it gives is like water on a beach, running water. And in the Didophobia story, Rory keeps hearing running water constantly, thinking it's his mom in the shower every time he's going to go get in bed. And whenever he does that, he ends up finding out that it's a speaker. It's not actually water. It's a speaker playing the water sound. He's going through Operation Gateway. Mike Schmidt is putting himself. It was a psychological experiment. It was, yes, Scott, and I'm going to get into it. Scott Cawthon recreated Operation Gateway on anybody who's ever played the games, and especially if you played Ultimate Custom Night, you unknowingly participated in a CIA experiment or a recreation of one. So, in Operation Gateway, they took the people, grouped them together, got them into this level, what they called the first level, which is Focus 10. It's a level of deep relaxation. It's where they believe that people could have like this mind awake, body asleep, lucid dream state to where they could imprint images into other people's mind. Just like Golden Freddy, just like Gonstone Telepathy, stuff like the Jake, Eleanor showing memories, the circus baby in the fourth closet graphic novel, putting her forehead to Charlie and sending her memories into Charlie's brain, sending Elizabeth's memories into Charlie's head. Um, and with that, they set it up in up to five controlled sessions. They took them, made them go through 5 sessions of testing their adjustment to fear. And in each of those sessions, they would adjust it and keep raising it to increase their homeostatic awareness. And what that means is that it's kind of like how we consider practice makes perfect in FNAF. The more that we go through and we get scared and we get used to being scared and we go through 1 out of 50, 2, 50, 3, 50, 4, 50, gradually getting better in Ultimate Custom, all the way up to 2050, which is 1,000 adjustments. Like this is the experiment on PCP. It, it's 1,000. You can adjust. And I know that like not every single one is really an actual adjustment. There are some that are distractions, Easter eggs, just little cute little things that pop up. But they are changes that are adjusting your homeostatic network because you are seeing and factoring that into what your body can take in. Now, through that, whenever they were doing this, they believed that they could reach 3 states of energy, and then one would always build up off of another. I told you about Focus 10, which had like how Golden Freddy imprints the thoughts into other people's brains. Um, Focus 12, which is the next step, is one whenever they become aware, and this is again, I'm quoting the CIA experiment. They become aware that they are this energy. They're also able to like travel through different electronics. They're able to like send sounds and noises into other people. A much stronger telepathy than Focus 10. And then you have finally, and this is what I brought up in your live yesterday, and like we talk about Scott Cawthon coming up and saying 15 theory. Um, we have Focus 15. And this is the bread and butter, right? So, like, this is 14 theory is Narrow Ravens, and he did pinpoint out in that theory that Toy Chica is sitting on the 15th walker. So, and what we have in the FFPS fire is 14 victims and William Afton. So we have 15 energies in one space coming together, and they're making Focus 15. And in Focus 15, what the CIA experiment said about it is that it is a higher dimensional energy. It's able to yeah, it's a higher dimensional energy. It has a non-significance to time, which means time doesn't pass for it. They're also able to manipulate time, such as making time loop or like endlessly, and make like such as making Afton suffer that endless loop of having to wake up and die over and over again. That is the power of Focus 15. Like that's what they believed, and Focus 15 built off everything before. So we got the 15 people inside of the fire. We got the Focus 15. Even Scott Cawthon coming out and saying 15, which they said it was a troll, but I legitimately think it's Focus 15. Like I think this is the solution that we have been given that's been put into FNAF. Um, is there anything else I left out? Nope. So. Like, and all of this stuff is in the if you want I know it's a lot to read, so I'm not tripping out. I'm used to people not reading it all. A lot of times I just hope people will take my word on what I say. But if you don't want to, those documents are in your Discord. You can go through. So I think the 14, I don't think Mike or Henry are victims. Mike, like Henry said in the FNAF 6, in the great speech, I have a way out planned for you, but I don't think you want to take it. Mike chose to die. I don't think he was a victim. Um, I don't really know about Henry either. I think the 14 victims is the crying child, the MCI, the DCI, Charlie, Elizabeth, and Andrew, right? So, um, and I think like the crying child is also backed up in UCN because if you like keep the old man consequences thought in your head, right? In 14 theory, whenever you go do old man consequence, you set it to 1. The first victim is the crying child because he's the one who got bit on his head. Now, from there, we play in the Old Man Consequences cut and the Old Man Consequences Easter egg. You play as Golden Freddy, and you have two options, right? He tells you, he says, you can leave the demon to his rest. Come sit with me. Just hang out with me. But if you choose to not listen to him, you go into the lake, and then people are like, "Oh, Golden Freddy is stopping you from escaping." No, Golden Freddy is leaving UCN. And we already have this backed up. Gold, like that black screen we see. By the way, I can finally say this because this is the only time a YouTuber is going to use this correctly. The black field behind Golden Freddy is the 0 point field. Now, in UCN, yeah. So like whenever you go, you enter the lake. Yes. Yeah. CC's definitely dead. Yeah. Um, I believe, like I said, I believe that because of the Mind Science Foundation, and they have a multitude of people connected working together, I think William and Henry were part of the same Mind Science Foundation. They were either part. Well, I have like two. I'll be honest. I have two. I like to think they're part of the My Science Foundation. A lot of that is my personal headcanon because of William Broad and then Helmut Schmidt. And like we get them in the games and stuff. So I kind of feel I hate the word parallels because there's not parallels in FNAF. But I hate, I just feel like because of their names that they're like supposed to be representatives of the people. But there's also the potential that because Athens Orange in Midnight Motor and that shows like an E3 rank. Um, there's also a potential that Athens worked in the military under them, like running their errands, doing their jobs, like being their like little henchman back in the day. It's such a secret of the mimic, and through that he learns everything. Um, Government is opening children energy. That is exactly correct. What? You want to work for the government? Just open up a pizza place and kill children to get infinite energy. Um, what else do we have? So, I really appreciate you guys coming out. Like, even if it's just two of y'all, this has been like a great, great time. Still waiting on the Clippers to show up. So, yeah, and like I get really bothered because like people be like, "Are you joking? Do I take you seriously? Like, are you being for real right now? The military can't be in FNAF." And then they'll go and make absolutely asinine opinions or theories. Like like fright fiction, that is the dumbest theory I have ever, okay, not ever heard, because I was on that questionable conjecture with Monacato, and there were some pretty bad theories. That's an awful theory. Like, whenever you look at the series to say, oh, it's a series of books written to cover up what happened, there were so many things in Fazbear Frights that nobody knew. Well, what are they covering? Like, what did anybody know that they're covering up? Who knew about Taggart? Who knew about Susie? Who knew about Mort and the Sea Bonnie story? Who, not Susie, who knew about Samantha? Who knew about Jeremiah and Prankster? Who knew about any of those people? Why would they be covering up something nobody fucking knew? Like that doesn't like yeah, there's the bad PR of Freddy itself, but it doesn't you don't learn through the bad PR specific small, I don't want to call them small because people are dying, but small to the overall lore. They're not gonna do that. Just be like, oh, we're gonna cover this up. Like if anything, there are no bad only poorly constructed. So, listen, Henry UCN is a thing. I'm sorry, but like there are bad theories. You know, the best theory right now, not even my theory, is TD Reed's Andrew line. Only Andrew's in the games. Hey, I wonder how long it's going to take her to get those clippers. Yeah. Mm. talked to you about the Gonstead experiments yesterday in your live with the torture mess. If you look at it, it has a speaker in the ear. It has red goggles over the eyes. It has blades like right around in this area, and it has blades in this area as well. That's overloading like blood coming into the eyes. You can't see. Your nose is getting chopped up and snuffed up. The after urine. That's a wild story. Um, I was just actually thinking of like that's legit. Like, can urine conduct electricity? I don't know. I don't know. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Gonstead experiment. Um, and so like what they did, and William Broad did Gonstead experiments trying to figure out Gonstead telepathy, which fits Focus 10 of Operation Gateway, which is whenever they're imprinting the images into your mind, the words into your mind, stuff like that. I might actually like just rock this haircut and be like, yeah, this is that new 2027 style. It's just coming in early. You probably can. You're right. It might. I mean, um, so like we get the experiments, and then William Broad pioneered remote viewing. Uh, you see in the FNAF 1 movie, they're connected to all the wires that lead to the TV screens and the cameras. That's watching someone to try to influence them from another room. Well, just like with the Golden Fred plush in the sister location room, whenever we see that he's watching them on the cameras, that's remote viewing. That's pioneered by William Broad. And all of this is in the stories. All of this is in the games. All of it, not all of the games that I've found so far. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right with the what. It is definitely a fashion statement. I agree with you there. Yeah, that sounds like a solid theory, to be honest. Thank you, Terminal. And it's so hard. Um, I'm neurodivergent in the way that like whenever I get excited, I want to spam a lot. It's but like it's not the same in person or like talking, but when typing and texting, like I can go on for years and it feels like 2 seconds to me. Um, so like it's hard to try to get attention without everyone being like, "Dang, dog, shut up." But like, I grew up like this, so I'm used to it. That's why I tell people like, if you ignore me, I'm okay with that. Just don't ignore me eternally because that's kind of messed up. Especially if I pay to be a member on your show. Um, not saying anything to you, of course. By the way, I think today is the last day because I see that like we have yet another viewer. We're waiting on clippers because my clip to the new viewer who just joined. We're waiting on my wife just went to go get new clippers. We're waiting on clippers because my other ones were like, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna die now. And yeah, that's what. So we're just hanging out talking about the military and FNAF while my head's like half buzzed, half shaved. Stress is real. Yeah. Okay, no, no, no. That's not what I mean. So yo,
We have to waste money on an Uber. That's like family
I
doesn't do that.
told you, I told you that before.
Welcome.
Welcome home. Look at you. I knew it was taking a while. I knew you wanted to go shopping. You buy any snacks?
That's what the kids candy. There's
Oh,
one
you
of
just
them
got.
don't want me to leave. I got you stuff, but it's not done. I got you guys stuff to set.
Clippers. Okay, as I was saying, so no, I don't exactly what the what said. I even if it's not going to be canonically in the movie, the author didn't write those words in that order to reflect everything in the story for no reason. It cannot be in the movie, but still have a significant importance to the story. Well, it was before you. Really? Yeah. Wait. Are you talking about the non-canon endings of the interactive novels?
The boys broke the TV. They just tried to lie to me and say they just turned it on and it was broken. But Mark was up to 5 a.m. I think it was him.
So wait, what happened? Is my stuff just lagging now? So my first take on that is that I think that the interactive novels are the Into Madness minigames repurposed, right? I think that's why we have multiple endings. That's why we have different things. And I want to clarify something. Yeah, people are correct. So even in the stories, even if it's not the same continuital ending or it's the good ending, doesn't make it any less canon. Um, Canon is anything from the official source that is dubbed to be of authoritative law. This, of course, doesn't include things like the Fourth Closet. Well, I mean, the Silver Eyes is still canon, but it's not part of the same continuity. Um, Canon just means it's part of the official lore, and continuity means it's part of the same storyline. Uh, I also believe that everything that happens in those books, I guess I can't really use that for escape future flash, can I? Because you do get game overs. But I think a lot of what happens in the books actually happened. Um, like even in the canon, like I went into like the 5 versus 6 kids in the Return to the Pit and Into the Pit thing. Um, my main theory that I'm trying to get out there right now is quantum agony, and it's that agony is charged by particles of light and dark photons. We know this because the good memories are released with heat. Larson sees whenever Jake is leaving the Stitch Wraith in the compactor in the middle of the epilogues, Larson sees an aurora borealis, which is like a flash of light, like you see like the little streams of light in movies, or if you go to where it actually is at. But ooh, that's nice. That's even I should have just got new ones to begin with. To be honest with you, I don't know why, but like with the five kids versus six kids, with Return to the Pit, whenever you do the 8-bit escape outlet, you are you are lined. Oswald gets lined up with the other kids, and then if you go into the pit game and you brighten the image, you'll see that five of the kids are all wearing the same color pants, like they're fitting like some kind of uniform with it, like a dress code or something. And then you got one kid with dark pants. Oswald had dark pants. Will be the ramifications on our understanding of the story. Getting rid of flipping parallels. Let me tell you, right? Like this is this is insane to me. Um, as a power scaler, I look at various different series, right? So I'm not only looking at FNAF. I see how a lot of different stories work. And a lot of people in FNAF, and this got popular because of popular YouTubers saying it, like, oh, it's a parallel. Like Jake and Andrew are a parallel to Cassidy, and I think at the time they believed his name was Evan. I don't think like Hyperjoy saw Dave at that time. But um, like if you were to stand on the outside and take out the impertinent details of what you knew, and you lined everyone up and looked at them, and you saw Jake and Andrew in the Stitch Wraith, you saw Crying Child and Cassidy and Golden Freddy. You're not going to sit here and be like, those two parallel each other. You sit there and say, it's the same law of nature happening between the two of them, right? So, and this explains also explains Shatter Victim. We actually get to look at this energy as energy. We can solve the FFPS fire, right? Did the animatronics die in the Five Nights at Freddy's 6 fire? No, they didn't. Why? Because of Einstein's law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed; it can only be converted. Whenever the animatronics were melted, the agony wasn't destroyed; it was taken off of the metal. And this is actually backed by what people misassociate in the Scoop blueprint. The Scoop blueprint does not say heating up remnant destroys it. It nowhere does it say heating up agony destroys it. Now, there's a part where Larson has an infection burned out of him, but if there's bacteria or something in your skin, fire will take that out. That's not energy. That's literally burning and sanitizing an infection using heat. Um, but yeah, so the FFPS, this is also in the Fourth Closet graphic novel. Search's baby is giving Afton dirty looks while he's like injecting the remnant into Funtime Freddy, and she's like, "You'll destroy them," and Afton straight up says they cannot be destroyed. Um, yeah, really, if we could stop looking at ghosts and start looking at what the books tell us, is that it's a current of energy, we'll be able to solve it. How are there, is it golden duo? Is it that? No. It's the law of attraction. When two opposite energies pick up or two like energies get in the same one, the energies are going to mesh together, become one, with the highest charge having the net result left over, right? And that's what happens. Like we got the crying child in Golden Freddy who's in the head because he got bit in the head. He's able to communicate just like Jake was in the head and is able to communicate. And then you got Cassidy in the body, just like Jake was in the Andrew was in the body. They're able to hurt people. It's not a parallel. It's the same thing happening. They're different streams of energy coming together, and there's nothing against. how many, like, it's science, like energy pulls itself together. And then, like, not to mention, it powers electronics. And whenever agony kills someone, it electrocutes them. Like how much more evidence you need that this is electricity? Well, it's not electricity. It is a current that follows electric properties. Because yeah. Oh, I also forgot to mention for the Mind Science Foundation in the story Fetch. Whenever Greg is worrying about Kimberly, he's running and he's calling himself an egotistical jerk. He's like, "How could I have thought I could have solved this? How did I think I could have figured this out? How do I think I could have done better than the CIA or the experts or any of the other people?" He dead names them in the story Fetch. He says the CIA, the experts. Yeah, and see, removing Ghost, I understand, but ghosts have never been in FNAF. Like, and I know there's times where it's spoken in the movie and they're talking, but there's ghost rules, but ghost rules is just telling us how the energy acts. We're told, we're told a conductive one. We're told multiple times throughout the entirety. We're told multiple times throughout the entirety it's not ghost. Marla and Charlie have a conversation with the group in the Silver Eyes. Taggart, who is a decades-long professional, has studied agony for his life's work, successfully conducted experiments, said these are not haunted by ghosts. He said, it is the agony, it is the memory of consciousness, it is emotional energy. That's what he says in his hypothesis. If you take an emotional energy and attach it to even an artificial intelligence, it would take that emotional energy and convert it into physical energy. It's just so weird trying to do this, do that. Like I'm not even gonna lie. So you're absolutely correct. And this is a nuanced difference. Like I totally understand that this is a nuanced difference. But and like people are like, it's the same thing. No, they're spirits. For like spirits, the difference between a spirit and a ghost, again, is they're similar. It's very slight nuance. But a spirit is considered a higher dimensional energy of consciousness, usually tied to the divinity. And we know Scott's a hardcore Christian, and even in the Bible, there's only one ghost, the Holy Ghost. Um, so like and Scott himself calls them spirits. He says spirit is energy. So for people to get upset and be like, well, it's the same thing. If it's the same thing, but it's just electric, why do you get upset? Why can't you accept what we're being told? Like something wild to me. And it also should be mentioned that like Scott himself said, people won't like the answer. Like, we're I don't think we ever just do this anyways now. Whee! 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 Yeah, like, and I mean, it's also like to me, it's more original because you don't really see that anywhere. Like, oh, I totally got off kilter what I was saying earlier about Return to the Pit. Um, so yeah, I believe that that it's charged by light or dark energy, which means that this energy moves at the speed of light. And if the energy moves at the speed of light, it's going to be relative. What that means is that it's not going to experience time. Uh, Neil deGrasse Tyson put it in a fairly great way. Whenever I love my hair just being freaking weird like this. Whenever he said, if we were to be able to watch a photon of light go from the sun to the earth, it would take about 8.5 minutes of us watching that photon. But to that photon, because it's moving at the speed of light, it doesn't experience time. Going from the sun to the earth, it sees it as instant. It's time isn't passing for that. It's not existing. Um, and so whenever we look at that, anything that happens, the MCI, because they're moving at the speed of light, is going to perceive it instantly. Um, like in the Avengers with Chip and them, right? We're viewing a memory of what we can guess to be maybe like 8 to 12 years in Oswald's future, if not like about 10 years in Oswald's past. Um, Even with that time frame happening, the moment it happens that like Chip was murdered, that all those people were murdered around the ball pit, another military shout out in Return to the Pit, Ava, the girl who is wearing the camouflage pants and is working in the convoy, is specifically said by narration that she has to have some kind of army training. Um, but anyways, the people who got led to that trap and they were murdered, the moment they were murdered, the MCI witnessed it throughout all of time, throughout all of their like quote unquote time. And so when in the RTTP route, 8-bit escape, whenever you play as Oswald and you get lined up with the other four kids, and then the rabbit brings in the fifth child, that's six kids. If you were to come in from the outside, like Oswald did on the Into the Pit game, and see that, you're going to see six kids. Oswald is seeing himself from the Return to the Pit, from the Return to the Pit route. It's still time travel. It is 100%. Like even as it says on the back of the book, it's still time travel because that energy's time is being fluxed throughout all of the MCI's memories. It's still time travel. That time travel is just instant. It's instant. Let me rephrase that. It's instant to the setting, not to Oswald. Oswald Oswald isn't physically traveling time. The energy around him is. Or well, technically time is traveling through it, if you think about it. So do I. Awful. Are you sure you don't want to finish this up for me? Because I am fucking it up.
No, I wasn't.
You want me? Yeah, no, you're an awfully rude person. Okay.
You? No.
Yeah, I like worship you to like everybody, and you're just like letting me down right now.
If you don't like this, I want to make you.
I'm not gonna let anybody down. You're so fucking beautiful. Be quiet. Woo. Welcome, welcome. I see someone else has joined. Yeah, I mean the frame of reference. If you're taking the ball pit as what Oswald's hallucinating, and not the phys, if you mean the ball pit as what Oswald's hallucinating in, and not the physical ball pit itself, yes. I'm just missing that part over and over, aren't I? This is awful. Whoa, 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 buddy. Calm down. Close, close, close. In the non-canon, or look at even I'm saying it. In the non-continual endings, Oswald does not escape the pit, and the fact that the past changes tells us Oswald did not escape the pit. Now, you have to remember, right? In the same aspect that we see the yellow rabbit as that suit whenever it's supposed to be William Afton, it's because the MCI perceived William Afton as that yellow rabbit monster. So everything we see is what the MCI is perceiving. Like with the chip, like with they're in the chip route with Return to the Pizzaplex, they see their leader who stays unnamed as the Yellow Rabbit. That person is tied to William Afton, and they've seen them work with William in some way. At first, I was like, "Oh, that's William," but the timeline doesn't really add. Well, I mean, the timeline, if it's in Oswald's past. No, because if that was back in 85 and that's 30, 20, and that's decades, like 20, 30 years later, that'd be 2005, 2015. And Afton wouldn't still be around. So yeah, that person has to have a connection to Afton that the MCI knows of because they associate him with the Yellow Rabbit. Um, it's not what Oswald can remember. He's not actually fixing it. He's going through, and since he made those motions, the MCI's perception is changing. Just like with the 5 versus 6, Oswald gets part of the RTTP and route. He becomes the sixth kid we see. Oswald solves it. His solution is what the MCI sees. Oswald doesn't stop the MCI, and we know Oswald doesn't stop the MCI because a security breach ruined the game is still going on. The rest of the games haven't been retconned. So there is no actual way that Oswald went back and solved and fixed and prevented the MCI. That didn't happen. That's the missing children's perception of what would happen if they were saved in their memory. The breaker box? It's outside. What you need to reset the break?
It's the Washington.
I'll be right back, guys. Yeah, two people. Sure. Yeah, I had to go flip the breaker for my wife. Ooh, she's gonna join us.
No, it's close here.
Standing on the court. Exactly what you like. You change what the kids see. Which, by the way, like whenever we take that as the implications as what it says, the kids also knew.
Oh, I'm in it. Yeah, oh.
Yeah, he's putting her back together, giving because so that is a happiest day reference, and the reason that is because they're not. Whenever you have multiple electric charges, even if you like with Shatter Victim, whenever Crying Child was spread apart, so many animatronics and the walls and stuff. Whenever you have multiple electric charges, he's spread out, right? So even if you got rid of one electric charge, you're not going to get rid of all of them, so they're never going to really pass on. Um, what Jake did, if you remember, whenever he fought Eleanor in the epilogue, he neutralized her charge, and she was carrying that pendant that had the victim's agony. Jake took her energy that she was containing the agony and he sunk into the pit. And this is another reason why I say that this is that energy, because it's based off light and dark photons, is because even in the prankster epilogue, when Jake's sinking into the pit, he comments that he no longer feels anything. Like he's aware that he is no longer a physical mass.
This is,
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the difference between Shatter Victim and God Victim. They sound like the same thing to me. I'll just name it Quantum Victim. The whole new theory. Crime child. So, as Taggart said, that this energy emanates off us, off of like a toxic cloud. Um, Crime child. He exactly like I spoke over. Like this is a good point too. Um, so the crime child. FNAF 4. He was going through Marilyn Schlich's experiment, feeling lonely, made to feel more lonely, and then at the last second, he's comforted, and they measure the energy of that comfort of what it does to him. And that's why, like, through all of it, like the Golden Quantum Victim, yeah, and that's why through all of it, like the Golden Thread plush is like, I'll put you back together. You still believe we're your friends. Like they're reassuring the crying child so he can get calm. Um, so that energy. He's already feeling scared. His brother puts him in Golden Freddy's mouth. The bite happens. The moment the bite happens, and I've labeled this HEM or HEMS for a high emotional moment. That high emotional moment wafted out that energy, wafted out waves of energy, creating an electromagnetic field. That wave is charged with particles, dark and light photon particles. And once those particles are conducted, they're able to, yeah, you're talking about like Toy Chica missing her beak and stuff like that. That goes back to what I was saying about like how the MCI perceived it. The reason Toy Chica was missing her beak is because the crying child saw the Toy Chica without her nose, without her beak. So whenever he saw the nightmare, he associated it with the toy. So like the nightmare was his perception, just like the pit in the night of the MCI was the MCI's perception. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, and it's agony, yeah. It is his agony. So the agony comes out. It comes out in like waves. Particles come out. As we know, it's as Talbot confirmed in the Prankster epilogue, as Taggart confirmed in the 135 AM epilogue by actually successfully measuring this energy between two electrodes. I'll quote the books. The lines set up to measure the energy lit up like a Christmas tree. So he's successfully measuring that energy. Um, So whenever so he got bit, waves came out all through. Again, we're going to go back to the the Silver Eyes, as Dave is talking about it, he's like the energy wafts out. It infected the mall, made the people at the mall feel sick, like something was wrong. So it never blew up, and then Freddy's just died with it. So the particle stuck to the animatronics, it stuck to the walls, it stuck to the wax covered posters, it stuck to the paper pals. Fun fact, back in the 80s, paper plates were pressed with metal plates treated with galvanoplasty, which left a slight conductive wax current on paper plates. That's why, unlike a lot of old time paper plates, you would get that static shock whenever you would separate them. Um, and so that's why we have the paper palaces because they conducted the crying child's emotional energy of that moment. And we know that this emotional energy is embedded in memories. Like whether or not you believe me that it's of Operation Gateway, it's stated by Talbert Taggart, Circus Baby in the Silver Eyes trilogy, Afton, Larson, Jake, whenever he's being freed. It's stated everywhere. Um, but yeah, because of stuff like that, we understand how they get shattered. Like, take for instance, we try to wonder about the Afton amalgamation from the Silver Eyes, the fourth closet. Actually, he's from the fourth closet, where he's like putting all the animatronics together. Um, we take those charges. We know he's messing with the MCI. We know for a fact because Carlton talked to them in the dream. He's injecting them into the other animatronics. He's saying it's the kids. Jessica confirms it. She's like, "Oh my God, these are the kids!" And they're like, "Yeah, that's what this is." And he's putting them into the animatronic. So we know from that all of the kids were put into one animatronic. And right after this scene, Jessica goes and sees kids, and she gets chased by a very, very specific animatronic. She gets chased by the Mangle. Um, if we go look at I was chilling with TD Reeds on his live the other day as he was going over the AR quotes. I wasn't chilling in his live; I was in his chat watching the live. Let me clarify that. One day I will be invited to be on his show. One day, one day. Um, but whenever we're doing that, we were going over Mangles and how Mangle talks not only in multiple perspectives, like you're a stranger to me, you're a victim to me, in the same quote, or talking about how they're all the pieces. Like the Mangle would carry the energy of all the MCI. That's what the Mangle is. It's Afton trying to bring them all together because again, if you have your electric current spread out, you can't move on or do anything with it. And he's trying to put the crying child back together because he was shadow victim. Um, got to get in the cool kids discourse first. One of these days, man, people will see me. You know, I just reached 100 subs today, so that's why I think it's like the first step to getting up the stairs. Got a Rocky Balboa. It might be like an exercise montage half the way up. I don't know yet. Well, then what do you go get the razor and get this all too? I don't know. I like it. Kind of feels nice. No, I'm kidding. Well, just like the military movies where they like shave their blade, shave their face with a knife. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'm not gonna, unless you guys have any more questions, I'm not gonna take up any more of your time. And this is really fun. So, oh, thank you. Funny you say something about that. Oh, Ape just got here. Hey, no, let's go hang out for a second. What's up? It's funny you should mention the widow's peak because like I used to get shit like growing up all the time for having such a receding hairline. They're like, you're gonna be bald in your 20s. Well, I mean like I'm 31, but this doesn't count. Um, and like they're all bald. Like all the like not all of them, but I see a lot of them just running around with this shiny head. Just in the nick of time. Oh, it's okay, man. I'm really glad you showed up either way, dude. Like it's huge that you would show up to come support. I really appreciate it. If you want to know more, just screenshot this jargon that you won't understand and then try to piece it all together. It's probably as convincing as the FNAF lore. As a matter of fact, I forgot. I completely forgot what FTS is. Like, it's not FTS, it's ETS. No, because it's 50 pizza collectors right here. What the fuck is FTS? So I so for Remnant and Agony, I think it is the most basic understanding that people have blown out of water. To to start, we have Talbert in the Prankster epilogue, who has made Remnant successfully on at least two occasions, which means he knows what it takes to make Remnant. He said, Remnant is taking the intangible and attaching it to the tangible, like water conducts electricity. Now we go back to the 1:35 a.m. epilogue with Taggart, and whenever he's studying the energy that's being conducted, it's studied because it's well, I just said it. No, no F-22s. Um, so yeah, in the 135, he talks about the energy is measured by its EDA or its electrodermal activity, which means its ability to be conducted along the skin. So we have two things. We have an energy that's measured by being conducted. The second part, I don't think he knows about it. Or I'll answer that in a second. Um, so we have the energy that's conducted like water, and then we have remnant, which is adding the tangible with the intangible. I believe remnant is any surface that can conduct a charge that is actively conducting that's actively conducting electricity. I do not believe Edwin was part of the military prior to being bought out. But after being bought out before David died, there was a small time frame. So I believe it's one of two things. Edwin, because he had to design these animatronics and they had specifics that they targeted in, he either learned about the military after the fact, maybe even he had to sign his own paragraph for it in some kind of way, or Fazbear ENT just completely tricked him and used him. Um, it's also meant to mention the white van that smashed David um, is the same van from The Man in Room 1280. Uh, it's also the same van from The Secret of the Mimic and the Help Wanted 2 update. Um, yeah, the van that hit David had mixers in the back. That's what I believe. I don't let me stop saying it did. I don't have as much evidence as I do for this or quantum agony for that theory. But yeah, it's either he learned after he was bought out or he's being used. Also, I think Midnight Motorist is us seeing William Afton become Purple Guy. Like I think that is the transitional night where he goes that. It's like that old early 2000s movie Joyride, but instead of the big old trucker, it's just a white van with William Afton driving. Which I believe we played as William Afton in Secret of the Mimic too. I think that's the thing. I agree with that. Trying to figure out William Afton's age. I know um, terminal is. Um, do you think he could be in? Do you think he could be the? I don't want to say protagonist because that insinuates a good guy. Do you think he could be the main character of Secret of the Mimic? For all we know, the Help Wanted van, Help Wanted 2, the van, once you put in the address, the van led to the factory. So they could have like had a feeling they could have tracked Agony to Edwin from his wife being dead or just the happiness. It could have just had nothing to do like they could just want the minute for the energy. Which by the way, protagonist player character with a 12 hour response was actually the God no. Yeah. I mean it's not really like it's out of pocket for FNAF though. They won't even be a plot twist. They won't even tell us. They'll trickle it in like little bits and pieces of lore that's gonna confuse everybody all over again. Yeah, my son wants to come say hi. He's excited.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, they're gonna see you, and we're on the screen.
Hi.
We're on the screen. We don't see them. They see us. I see them chat right there.
Oh.
It might take them a minute to say hi because there's a lag between the stream and the actual camera.
Oh.
I agree with that terminal. Not only do I agree with that, you know what I think is crazy? Um, in that in Help Wanted 2, we're followed based Pokemon shirt. They like a Pokemon shirt.
Thank you.
And a YouTuber actually said hello to you. Terminal Error, he's a pretty popular YouTuber. He said hi. Okay. Um now yeah, Mixes. So people say in Help Wanted 2, Mixes follows you around acting like Glitch Trap. But if we were to take the Help Wanted 2 update as canon, as a fact, Mixes predates Glitch Trap, which means Mixes isn't acting like Glitch Trap. Glitch Trap is acting like the Mixes. Yeah, he said there's a 15 second step delay, which is crazy. Um, so with that, like we know that the Mixes was used to keep the Mimic One program. We know that the glitch trap acts like mixes. I think that's why I think William Afton's the main character, and he's going for the mimic, so he has a backup to put his agony into.
I'm gonna
I
go
never
play on
did.
my phone.
Go play your phone. You don't you. All right. Burrito, burrito. Um, all right. Yeah. My stream's hit 2 hours. We're going on 1 o'clock. I mean, we're all gonna go watch the Minecraft movie before too long. So I am gonna be heading out. I really appreciate you guys joining. I'll give you guys one more chance if you have any more questions or you have any more interests in anything that went on today. Or having the antenna topper foot and steel. Having the antenna topper on the midnight motors. It's pretty funny. Wait, I'll hear this. Yeah, exactly. That is very true because like the point of a 0 point field is to tell us that the energy is going to always exist. So like no matter what, it's going to be negative or not negative. It's going to be infinite. And it's infinite because it's negative. And whenever you have a negative and you take away from a negative, you're still going more negative. Um, that wasn't for me that time. Listen, if you're not keeping track of the year by the dice you hang on your what's that? I don't know what that's called, the rear view mirror. Mm, if you're not doing that, man, like how are you? Like do you have like a calendar or a phone? Kind of like noob, are you? Yeah, no, that's another thing, right? Because that's something that's always bothered me is that like we were supposed to believe that William and Henry were these highly intelligent men who worked together, figured this out, somehow brought life into animatronics. But for some reason, this guy is just so mentally unstable, he becomes a different person whenever he enters a rabbit suit. Like, not, I'm not saying it's not possible, it's fiction, but I definitely, it seems to me, and I do believe that Andrew is conducted to the spring body suit. It seems to me he knows that suit is going to recuperate him. He knows he's going to get healed. That's why he's so confident. Like it's like if you had a video game where you had like a god mode as an enchantment on an armor. Like you put that armor on and go fight any freaking dragon in the game. All right, I do have to go. I would love to sit here and stay. I am not going to be doing my lives on Tuesdays. I only did this because I had put off going bald because me and my wife's work schedulings, and then whenever we did have time, we used to take. Um, I don't know what day I'm going to be doing lives. I have to go figure out when everyone else consistently does their lives because I definitely will get shut out by bigger streamers constantly. Um, Thank you guys for joining. Um, you have a great day too. What the what terminal? Thank you so much for joining and listening to my rant. Let me be a part of going bald. You guys have been amazing as always. Even though this is the first time, you're always amazing.